Well, hey, this is Deroy Cruz, your friendly neighborhood Christian. Uh, so much going on right now in the country. Um, my word of advice to you, whether you're Christian or secular, or Christian or non Christian, is stay out of it. Just stay out of it. Focus on you and your family. Focus on your own relationship with God if you are a Christian. Quit worrying about all these brilliants out here that every day they got something to fight about, and it's the reason why is because that's all they got. If they ain't got nothing to fight about, they ain't got nothing. Okay. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. This video is about. I did a quick review on this here guitar. This is my Shecter Tempest Custom. I've had it now for probably well over 5 years, maybe going on 10. Yeah, I've had it. I got it right after I got divorced. I finally got it. I've had it for over 10 years because I had it back. I got this back when my kids were still in high school. So I've had this guitar for at least 12 years and up. Um, Now, I gotta admit, I haven't played it as much as I should. I've spent a lot of time, working and um, moving from place to place, being homeless, problems in the family, you name it. I haven't been able to work on my trade, work on my chops. Um, anyway, um, what I wanted to talk to you about real briefly and quickly is, you know, when I listen to YouTube and I go on YouTube and people do guitar reviews, they only worry about how well the guitar holds the distortion. I mean, to me, that's kind of like silly. Um, if you are doing a guitar review, if the guitar, there's only one reason to worry about the guitar holding the distortion, and that's to test the humbuckers to see if the humbuckers buzz or make a squilling noise or whatever whenever you add distortion to the humbuckers. But other than that, listen. You want to listen to how notes, you want to listen to two things on a guitar when you're reviewing it. First of all, you want to listen to how it um, handles chords. So, um, now, I don't usually play my guitar because I live in an apartment. I don't usually play my guitar through this amp. I have a Line 6 amp here, and it tends to, it's got issues, but it's hanging in there for me right now for this video. But when you, even if you're in the heavy rock music, the first thing you want to do when you review a guitar is you want to make sure everything is in line. Okay. want to look at the action. You want to make sure it's in line, that the manufacturer did a good job on it. Just before we did this video, I don't know if you can't see it, but I let my guitar fall right here, and it bumped and hit my computer, and it put a little bit of a little lump in the smooth maple, in the maple on this guitar. This guitar is covered in maple all the way around, except for the fretboard. The fretboard is rosewood, and it's covered in this white maple with this white maple cap. The wood is inside this white maple cap. I don't know if you can see it there, but see that little hole there? See that little hole right there? That's where I left my guitar at my church when I moved. And I came back to get it, and the first thing I saw was that hole. So that lets me know that underneath, that lets me know that either the wood behind this maple isn't all that heavy. And this is only like this isn't even a 10-pound guitar. It's got to be a little bit less than 10 pounds, this guitar. But that little tiny hole there looks like a needle hole. Something fell on my guitar, and I think it went all the way into the wood. It cracked the maple and went all the way in. You can't see it, so I was going to take it to the shop and have it repainted or whatever. I figured it would affect the sound, but I don't think it has. And then now I'm worried about this. You can't see it, but I can feel it when you rub your hand across it. You can feel it. I just dropped it a minute ago. I was trying to get my wires together. That's what I hate about playing the guitar lately, is all the wires. I wish I could do everything wireless. But I was trying to get my wires together, and I had my guitar leaning, which, let that be a part of this lesson. Don't lean your guitar on anything. Always, if you lean your guitar on something, have it in the corner of the room, away from everybody and everything. Other than that, don't lean it on your bed. Don't lean it on a side of the table, which I had it leaning up against the amp, and when I bumped it, I barely touched it, and it fell over, and it hit my wood. It put a lump in my maple. It's not a bad lump. This is beautiful maple on this guitar, but it put a lump here, and then I got that to deal with on top of this little hole that I found it in. So that's 2 lessons for you right there. Always put your guitar on a stand, even if you got to walk clear across the house to do it. Always put your guitar on a stand or have it on a hook on the wall. Don't, especially your electric guitar, do not just sit it anywhere thinking that it will hold its balance. It's not you. It's not human. It's got a mind of its own. Yeah, it's not human. It's got a mind of its own. Put it on a stand. That's like telling your dog. That's like telling your dog to sit in a corner and then somebody knocks on the door. You think he ain't gonna get up? Okay. Anyway, I like this guitar, and I popped the string just yesterday. I was jamming. No, the other day, Sunday, I was jamming. I was doing a little thing. You know, I was doing some little poppy. Found something in here, little. You know, I was doing a little bit of like playing a little bit of thirds here, and you know, trying to get poppy with it, and I popped. Yeah, I got poppy with it, all right. I popped my high E string. I just left Pittsburgh Guitars with an extra E string, a new set of electric strings, and an extra B string, because those 2 strings, E and B, the 2 lightest strings on your guitar, and sometimes a G too, you're going to pop them very often if you are practicing. You know, part of your practice is popping a string so you know what not to do in concert. so you don't pop strings while you're up there on stage. Um, and lately I've been stringing my guitar pretty good in a way where I don't pop as many strings. This guitar right here, and I noticed that about these type of guitars, like this is part of the Les Paul family. So therefore, it has this kind of tail and string setup right here. These string, it's not easy to pop a string on these guitars. Ask somebody that has a Les Paul how often they pop strings. They don't pop strings very often at all because of the way the strings configuration is set up. And I don't pop strings on this guitar a lot, especially since I found a way to string it where it not only stays in tune, but the strings are on there pretty good to where they're not going to, where they got room to take a little bit of a beating. But after I popped the string yesterday, well, it was either Saturday or Sunday I popped the string. It was Saturday, because I remember, yeah, it was Saturday. Because it was Sunday that I told the guy who on my job plays guitar too. He's a good Christian fellow like myself who plays guitar like myself. Of course, he practices a lot more than I do. And he was telling me how, he's always telling me a story. I said, well, I got one for you. I popped the string yesterday. And I was getting into my groove, man. Found me a little groove, up here at the A minor, sliding down to the E, or sliding up to the E here, and I had a little groove going, playing thirds. Hit the octave right here. I was jamming, man, and pop. Trying to get poppy with it. I got poppy with it, all right. I popped the string. Popped my high E string. So I was telling him about that. We was laughing about that. And so I went a couple of days without being able to play this guitar. And, I've been playing a lot of my ukuleles lately. Well, I've been playing my ukuleles a lot lately. I'll put it like that. And not really touching my guitar. And, after listening to this guy talk about guitars all the time, I figure, you know what? I got to get home and practice my guitar. So I came home and I'm practicing. And as soon as I get into my groove, you know how it is. I get into my groove and pop! Pop goes my high E string. Okay? And I do a lot of, hopefully I won't pop a string. I do a lot of bending and a lot of, a lot of bending and improvisation on my high E string. So, I don't play my guitar without all my strings because, like, my solo strings, I do a lot of improvisation with them. And the bass strings, they don't pop. But, I use them. I have a way I use them too. But first of all, when you do a guitar review, the first thing is, can you play beautiful chords on your electric guitar? If you cannot play beautiful chords on your electric guitar, if your clean channel sounds icky, it might not be the guitar you want. Some of these metalheads are so in the distortion that they don't know that even on a guitar that is made with triple humbucker power and is meant for a lot of grunge playing, a lot of crunchy playing, you still have to have a good clean channel. If you don't have a good clean channel, I don't care if your guitar costs $5,000. It's probably not a great guitar if it doesn't have a good clean channel. One thing I learned about cheap guitars And the very first guitar I ever had, I told you, was a Cruise. Cruise back in the day was the cheapest guitar you could get. It was so cheap, they didn't offer guitar packages with Cruise. They tried to raise the price on Cruise and do some packages not too long ago, but that went downhill. But Cruise, even though they're cheap guitars, they have the cleanest, um, or they had the cleanest clean channels you ever want to hear. I mean, all this, the whole selector switch. Take the distortion away, everything's clean. And then when you put the distortion on it, you can tell what's going directly into the sound, separate from the distorted sound. Like, or should I say, you can tell the distorted sound separate from the clean chant, the clean sound. Wow. Okay, you can tell the difference. Same thing with processors. Some of the cheaper processors, like I've always wanted an Ibanez PT5. Help me, Lord. Help, Lord. The Ibanez PT5. Oh my God. The Ibanez PT5 is one of the cleanest processors when it comes to, and it's 16 byte, I understand that, but 16 byte is a lot cleaner in a lot of cases. Don't hate on it. I've had people who only play pedals play my processors. Zoom. I have my Zoom right here on the floor in front of me, and I don't have my guitar plugged into it because I wanted to show you my clean tone. But you get the most crystal clear distortion, crystal clear flanger, crystal clear chorus on the PT5 and the Zoom 9000S. Now this one here has, probably you can count like 2 channels that are like squeaky clean, squeaky clean reverb, squeaky clean chorus, flanger, even shifter effects. Squeaky clean. I like squeaky clean. You can play anything and you can hear like the feedback. And some people, depending on, where they're going with their music, they might like all that feedback. But if I play chorus, that's all I want to hear. I want to hear chorus. I don't want to hear chorus and the old lady nagging behind the sound. You know what I'm saying? I just want to hear the chorus. I don't want to hear, if I get delay, I want to hear delay, and I don't want to hear the duck quacking behind the delay. Quack, quack, quack. Wow. What is that? Is that the ping ball? Is that the ping pong effect? Or is that the duck effect? You know what I'm saying? What is that? I hear something other than the ping pong back here. Something need to be edited back there. And, even some of these pedals that, you pay such a fortune on, one pedal can cost about the price of a full processor. And sometimes they sound like trash. I don't even have any more pedals. I gave them away. I also gave away my guitars. I gave away a Cruise that I had. Lord forgive me. I gave away my Cruise. I had one more Cruise left. I gave that away. And I gave that away to a friend of mine, and I'm upset because he promised me if I gave him my guitar, when I got this one, I gave him my Cruise. And I says, you promised me you're going to play. You're going to learn how to play. And I gave him books, tuners. I gave him a string winding kit, string repair kit. I gave him a pedal. I gave him all kinds of stuff. I got him a pocket rocket. I gave him everything he needed to start playing guitar. I built my own package for him. And what's he doing today? He ain't touched it yet. But he had to have it. I was going to give it to my daughter, but my daughter already had a better guitar than that. You know what I mean? I bought my daughter, I don't remember, Chevelle or Everaz or one of them. One of their packages. And that guitar is a sturdy guitar. I think she's got two plus one. Plus one a friend of mine gave to her. I think one of them was the Fender Squire, and I'll talk about that. I have one here. And let me get on with my story. Anyway, I got rid of my Cruise, and when I got this one, and I'm sorry I gave it to him because he's not playing it. He's not learning anything. He's chasing skirts, and got himself in all kinds of trouble for it. It still ain't played any tunes, but um, yesterday, getting on with it. Yesterday, I told myself today I'm gonna get up in the morning because today and tomorrow's my days off. I'm gonna get up in the morning. I'm gonna take a nap and get up, and I'm gonna string my guitar. And I had this one right here, my Squire. I'll show you that in a minute. I got that because I was leaving this one at church. I'll never do that again. Told you what just happened. That's where I got this little hole from, that little hole right there. Leaving it in church, ready for service, and somebody let something fall into it. You know, I'm lucky it wasn't worse, but I'll never do that again. Next time I leave my guitar at church, I'm gonna put it in its case and hide it somewhere where ain't nobody gonna be tampering with it, where can't nothing fall into it. But anyway, I was too lazy to put a string on my guitar earlier today, so what I did was I got out my Squire. I got my Fender Squire. Let me show you what that looks like. It's and I like Stratocasters. My Stratocasters are my first guitar. Okay, so yeah, this is a Fender Squire. Okay, Stratocasters are my first guitar. Now this guitar here, I think needs a little bit of work, but most of the time I'm able to get it to work good for me. And I was playing it earlier today, and it plugged right up, no problem, no short, no nothing. Plugged it right in and started playing. But I realized when I started to play my Squire how much I missed this baby right here because it's different. Now, one thing I like about the Squire, now I see what the fuss is with Eric Clapton and different ones. One thing I like about the Fender guitars and even the Squire is that when you play even like distortion on a good Squire or a good Fender, you can hear the wood. Now I'm not in the wood tone wood or however that goes. I'm not going to get into that argument with nobody. I don't really know about it. All I know is that two guitars in my life that I've actually heard and felt knocking on wood when you play distortion, and that is Fender and Ibanez. I had an Ibanez that was it was a heavy guitar, and it was very much like this one, only that it was like a Strat. Everything else about it was Strat, and it was like a cross between this and a Strat, and it had inlays somewhat like this, and it had a beautiful sound to it. But I wasn't impressed with the clean tone. It was like you have to leave the clean tone and take it up here, instead of having it down here. You have to take it up to its edgy channels. The soft channels really didn't mean anything on that guitar. But if I took it up to like the middle humbucker, okay, then like if I took it up to the middle position or the neck or the saddle position, it would it had like a real heavy wood sound to it, and you could when you would play, it was like it was like the guitar was talking back to you. You know what I mean? It was like, and you could hear almost like an echo, it echoing in the back. You know, and you could feel it on your fingers. It was like when you, it was like something was knocking on your finger. I'm just being honest. I mean, that was the way, that was how powerful the electricity in that guitar was. And that's how much the wood for that particular guitar, that Epiphone, with the wood on that particular guitar meant. And it was really the neck. Like the neck was about as heavy as the guitar. The neck was really well done. I mean, it was like the guitar was properly balanced. Like here, the body's heavier than the neck, but on this guitar, the neck was somewhat heavy. Okay, so I realized that I miss playing this guitar because when I play chords on this guitar, another thing I want to mention too is I was playing my keyboard. I have a Casio, what is that? No, I think it's Yamaha. Yamaha or Casio one. I cleaned it up. Oh man, dropped my pick. I cleaned it up and I decided to get it out and monkey around with it a couple days ago. And that's what really got me to wanting to get out my guitar, because I was trying to play, you know, you have to use two hands when you play the piano, you know, the keyboard. And I realized that I'd be tearing this song up if I was playing this on guitar. I'd be like, you know, strumming, and then I could take my hand and just play fill-in notes like I just did with that Amazing Grace medley. You know, just pluck notes here and there within the chord to get the improvisation to come through. That's how you play the guitar. You so I don't know if you can notice, but this guitar layers chords very well, and not every guitar layers chords very well. In my lifetime, I've met bands where the guitar player, and I mean a real, you know, Steve Vai type of guy, a real Gary Moore type of guy, a real, you know, Pat Metheny or whatever. You know, he really knew how to play his stuff, but he played everything from his electric guitar, and it wasn't like he had to keep taking the electric guitar off and getting an acoustic to get a clean sound, is what I'm saying. I don't even play acoustic. I play, acoustic ukulele, but as I said in another video, but like if I'm playing, I remember when I first started playing guitar, somebody asked me to come to church one time and play for the men's group. I think I already said this before. I took a guitar and a little amp, little practice amp, my picks, my tuner, and I went, you know, and we had a good time. And the only problem we had was one of the guys that was there, he wasn't really into the electric guitar. It wasn't anything that I was doing wrong. He just wasn't into the electric sound. Um, but even though it was his interest in the acoustic guitar and he didn't like my electric, that was really the issue there. Everyone else loved it and they enjoyed it, but I wished I had knew how to adjust my tone levels. When you play clean sound, even all the more, you have to make adjustments to get that clean tone. Like right now, I got everything in mid position. I got the amp in all the mids, and then like here, my guitar here has this splitter. I forget what you call this. Coil tap. Coil tap is what they call it. It has a splitter. See how that changes the sound? So I can play something heavy in a clean tone with the coil tap. Now, especially if I'm in the middle. Okay, now watch what happens when I take off the coil tap. Now you got more articulation and more dynamics in the strings when you take the coil tap off, but to get a clean tone, a good clean tone, these type of guitars have this coil tap. One of the things that I want to get, and I hope before it goes out of print again, is the Blues Hawk. I want one. I want one of those really bad because it has the tritone on it. Is the tritone, trial tone, or whatever that thing is, it has a tritone thing on it where you can have like anywhere from like 6 to 10 different settings. And instead of you changing your guitar for every single song or whatever, you can just, you change that tritone. You just flick that tritone to whatever number you want it, and that takes you to different guitar modes. It's almost like having a effects processor or a preamp on your guitar. You have like 6 or 10 different settings on a tritone. Instead of you always adjusting the volume and tone, treble and bass for each song, you just know the tritone that you want to use for each song. I think it's called tritone. Okay, that little dial, and it has like 6 to 10, spots on it, and each one sounds different. Now I know a guy was doing a review on a Blues Hawk, and he thought that the tritone was just pointless. But I think it's awesome, and I was listening to him do the review, and there's like at least 5 of them there that I could hear them. I could hear them really loud and clear, and they were really, really. It sounded like he went from a Les Paul to a Fender, from a Fender to an Ibanez, from an Ibanez to a Epiphone, from an Epiphone to a Paul Reed Smith. It sounded like he was. I like this coil tap because I can go from this to this. And not only does it automatically kill the volume a notch, but it also softens the sound. And like I said, when you're practicing, you want when you're looking for a guitar, if you got good clean tone, the clean tone should always be first. How good is the clean tone? If they can't sell you good clean tone, they probably can't sell you a good humbucking tone either. Okay? Always make sure you got good clean tone. And I know one of the things they do when I go to guitar stores like Guitar Center or whatever, and I get a guy to show me a guitar. First thing he wants to do is show me how to get loud. Blast it with distortion and all like that. And I'm like, can you give me a clean tone? And he'll give me a clean tone with some amp or something, with some preamp or something. And I'm like, that's the clean tone? He says, yeah. I says, okay, look, let me go directly into the amp. Then I find out that half these amps today that they selling don't have clean tones on them. You got to go get a cheaper amp to get a clean tone. So I said, give me that amp over there. So I put it into a regular crate amp. I love crate amps. Crates are cheap, but they're good amps. Good amps. A crate amp with the Shecter Tempest Custom. That's a gig right there, baby. That's a gig. It's a gig. Anyway, crate amps are really nice. They got good, deep, warm, clean tone. So, when you're playing, when you're buying a guitar, always make sure it's clean tone. Make sure the clean tone is good. Sing hallelujah to the Lord. Sing hallelujah to the Lord. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah to the Lord. Lord, I surrender all to you. Lord, I surrender all to you. Lord, I surrender all. Lord, I surrender all. I surrender all to you. So, that's the kind of music I like to do, and it requires, whether you're playing electric or acoustic, it requires clean tone, and I love clean tone on the electric guitar. And when I play acoustically, I love the ukulele. But you know, I had to go get me a string and put it on my guitar today, this one here, because that Squire does not give me the clean tone that I want. However, it does give you, in certain positions, a good lightly crunch tone. It does, like if you're playing in the middle position and you have like just a shot of distortion on it. Again, it has Squires, Stratocasters. They have that, if they're good ones. They have that, you know, you know, you can feel the truss rod in there working. You can feel the electricity going through the neck. I mean, it's one of the things that people love Stratocasters for. You play them enough, which, like I said, Stratocasters were always my first guitars, but um, I've had enough of them. But you get a good expensive Stratocaster like that Epiphone I had. You can feel the warmth of the guitar in the body. They say there's no such thing as tone wood when it comes to electric guitar. I agree at one point, but I do believe it does matter who is the make and model of the guitar, because if you get certain people, they put so much wood into the guitar and they have so much attached to the wood, if that makes any sense, that you can actually feel it in your fingers and hear it in the sound that it's vibrating against the wood. So, I'm not one to argue about that, but I will say, it's one guitar at a time for me. Right now, I'm playing this, and right now, I can't feel the wood like I can in an Epiphone, an Ibanez, or certain Fenders, but I can feel the warm tone and the accuracy of the chords, the accuracy. And you always want to make sure that when you go up the scale, that the notes are falling a whole step or a half step from each other in their conjunctive places, because that's a sign that there might be something wrong with the truss rod, or you might be warped somewhere or something like that. My pastor showed me that in a good old acoustic, the only acoustic that I ever played that I really liked. He showed me that one day. There was like a whole note missing. It was like I play a chord and there was always a note missing out of the chord. And I asked him about it. I says, "You hear that?" He says, "Yeah, it sounds like your truss rod is bad." And I says, "This has a truss rod in it?" I didn't even know it had a truss rod in it. And he pulled it out. He showed it to me. Yeah, it's got a truss rod in it, all right. And there you have it. So that guitar is in a closet right behind me. It's in a closet, and one of these days I'll get it fixed. The only acoustic that I kept, because when you put strings on it, it sounds beautiful, and it has a beautiful feel. It's a dreadnought. I love the color. It's a cherry red dreadnought. It's really nice guitar, but it it needs work on it, and it needs to be stringed, and it needs some polish and that, some shining up. But whatever you do, start off with the clean tone and let the clean tone judge the other tones. If it's clean, then there's a good hunch it'll be good when it's distorted, because you're always going to want to play something clean with your electric. You ain't always going to have time to run and go put it down and go get an acoustic. You're going to want to play something clean with your electric. So It's always important to find that clean electric tone. This guitar right here, the Shecter Custom Tempest, or a Tempest Custom, is has good clean tone, better than that Fender in front of me. Okay, that Fender in front of me, even though it's a single coil all the way around, it holds distortion really good in the tail position. But when it comes to clean tone, even though you can hear less wood in this one, it has a cleaner tone. So hope that means something to you. Hope that helps. Um, Make a comment. Let me know what you think. Like, dislike, do something. Okay, I need some backup around here. Okay, on this channel. So God bless you. Talk to you soon.